Andrew, the Paris Agreement started the day as a proposal, already nearly 2 days late. On the verge of making history, they arrived this morning with one outcome in mind. But with no plan B, there were no guarantees. The document wasn't even ready to read when French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius announced it. He was thinking of all those who fought for this day but couldn't be here.
Mais qui ont agi et lutté sans pouvoir connaître ce jour.
The Paris Agreement would not make everyone happy.
Pour que vive la planète.
Still, a major leap for mankind, said French President François Hollande, invoking the memory of the Paris attacks 1 month ago.
Le 12 décembre 2015.
The 12th of December can become a message of life, he says. France calls upon you to adopt the first universal agreement on climate, the first such agreement in our history, he says. The Paris Agreement calls for keeping climate warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius while striving for 1.5. At least $100 billion a year to help developing countries reduce emissions, with developed countries taking the lead. And a review of national targets for reducing emissions before 2020 and then every 5 years. There are many things it doesn't do. There's no enforcement mechanism, for one. Ministers from big oil-producing countries, developing economies, and poor nations all had just a few hours to review the proposal before they would convene to decide. Back again to the hall purpose-built for consensus. But then more delays, 2.5 hours for proceedings to start. Within moments, though, with no objections, Fabius declared the agreement adopted.
L'accord de Paris pour le climat est accepté.
This is a tremendous victory.
We have written a new chapter of hope.
Then one after the other they spoke, acknowledging it wasn't perfect, but the best they could do. For those who have come year after year hoping for a deal, it is a historic turning point.
This treaty is, I think, a masterful balancing act and ends up being meaningful, which is the bottom line. I didn't want to walk away from here with some fake treaty that makes everybody feel good politically. It has to be real, but it is not the end of a road, it's the beginning.
May says the deal would not have been possible with a Canada under the previous government. But Canadian activists say Canada could and should have done more.
They haven't yet taken the lead that I am hoping they would take here in Paris. They didn't do that. So maybe when they get back home, they can show that global leadership.
It is indeed what happens after the conference that will determine its success, and ultimately that will be for coming generations to judge. Andrew.
All right, thanks, Nala.